Hi, I'm Larry Puckett, the DCC guy. Well, today we're going to take a look at something you've been asking me about for several years now. And it came in this box, and that's the ESU ECoS DCC system. So let's get started with the video. Hit that little red subscribe button, and when the little bell comes up, click on it and click all. Well, the first thing I want to do before we actually do get started with a look at the ecosystem is I want to thank you for all the feedback that I got from last week's video, because I did read every one of your comments. I might not have commented on your comments, but I will tell you that I do read every one of them. So everything you say to me, I do take to heart, and I appreciate all of the kind words in your comments on that. Okay, let's take a look now at the ECoS system, because this is something that folks have been asking me for several years now. About 2 months ago now, I guess, we took a look at the ESU wireless cab control system. So this time we're going to take a look at the bigger unit. I'll give you an overview of how it works and show you, how you can connect a wireless Wi-Fi throttle to it. You can even use the throttle that came with the ESU wireless cab control system. Managed to get that up and working. So we'll take a look at various things that you can do and see if it's something that you might be interested in looking at when you get ready to get into DCC yourself or switch from the system that you currently have. So let's come on in here close and take a look down at what I've got on the desktop. Hi there, I just wanted to add a quick note. I've finished editing the video and it is running much longer than normal. I've tried to cut it back. I started out at an hour and it's still going to run somewhere around 30 minutes in length. So what I suggest you might consider doing is watching the video in segments, and I have added chapters down here on the scroll button. So if you hit the scroll button, you'll be able to go through the various chapters, and that should make it easier to find sections that you want to watch, sections you don't want to watch, sections you might want to come back to at a later time. So enjoy the video, and now I've got to go back upstairs and upload the video and get it on YouTube. So first off, we've got the main command station itself. And you'll see it has two throttles, one on each side here. They are not removable, they're stationary throttles. So this system would be something you would use if you had a central operating point where you're going to be using both controllers yourself, or you and somebody else might be working together running the model railroad from a central operating location. Or you could use it with Wi-Fi throttle. So this might be something you used at a main yard area in a town or something like that to control a couple of local switchers, that kind of thing. And then you would use a Wi-Fi throttle out on the main line for your other operators to run the railroad. So that's one way you could set this up and operate it. And I'll go into more detail on this first. And you can see it's got the two throttles, one on each side, and then it has a panel display here that's split screen. This is the speed and information for the right-hand throttle, speed and information for the left-hand throttle. And we'll go into all these different controls and things in just a minute. Okay, right here is the power supply. It's the same power supply. It's a 7-amp power supply, and it's the same one that came with the wireless cab control system. And same thing, it has a small pot right here on the back where you can change the voltage. So it's rated at 7 amps. However, you get 6 amps out of the command station going to your truck. So there's plenty of overhead power here being provided. Another thing that they sent me that does not come with the system is this wireless mini access point device. And what that means is it's a Wi-Fi base station. So this allows you to connect Wi-Fi throttles directly to the command station through this wireless device. There's a setup step you have to go through, and I'll show you that because it can be kind of dicey. This particular access point that they sent me is being replaced. You can pick up one of these off of Amazon or anywhere that sells these mini access point wireless devices. Unfortunately, it doesn't come built into the command station itself. Another option that is available to you that they sell is a LocoNet adapter. So the wireless cab control had one built in. And if you go back and look at that video, and I'll link to it above me here and at the end of this video, so you can go back and compare them. But on that one, it had a built-in LocoNet port. This one, it has a separate LocoNet port that you can purchase that plugs into the back, and then you can use your Digitrex throttles. And there might be some others out there that are based on Digitrex LocoNet protocols. So you could use potentially Digitrex throttles with this station as well. And as I showed you previously, I was even able to plug in my wireless adapter for LocoNet and use my wireless Digitrex throttles with the system previously. Should work fine with this as well. Okay, what I want to do next then is take a look at the underside of this and show you the connections. If you look right here, you can see there's this row of connectors right here, all in a row. And let me flip that so you can see what those are. So the first thing you have, I'm going to go from this side to this side. Right here is a power adapter, and that's your standard barrel plug type connector that plugs in right here. Right here is the programming track connection, and it uses these plug-in screw terminals that commonly used these days. So you'd have one here for these two leads that go to your programming track, and another one here that goes to the main power bus, so your DCC power bus. So they're right there together. Then you have this one here that's labeled AUX, and that is currently apparently not being used in the manual. It says just ignore it. And then you have 3 of these ECoS link connections, and that's for connecting various other pieces of ECoS equipment. And then you have the ECoS Extend, and that is a connection for an adapter that allows you to have more of these ECoS links. So that if you run out of space here, then you can add another device that gives you more connections. And then finally right here is your Ethernet connection. So this could be connected either to the access point that I just showed you for a Wi-Fi connection. I was told that you could actually connect up a Wi-Fi router right here for a connection, or you could have a direct wired connection to a computer if that's what you want to do. So a number of different ways that you can make these connections. And then right here, there's another one of these screw terminals, and that's for connecting things like non-ESU boosters, and you can use some with those, and there's connections for that, plus a few other types of connections that are explained in the manual. And then there's another thing right here for what's called it looks like S88, and that's another type of interface that they used to use. So they provided capabilities to use their older equipment with the device. Okay. So those are all the connections. It's fairly straightforward as far as making all these connections. Okay, so let's flip it back around here, and we can start taking a look at how it goes together. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to plug it in, and there is no on-off switch per se. There's a stop and a go button, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. But, okay, so I've got that. I'm also going to connect the Ethernet cable from the mini access point. At the present time, these mini access points are only available if you purchase one of the wireless throttles separately. So they come together. Maybe in the future they might start selling these as a standalone. I don't know. But like they said, you can pick these up from Amazon and various other places. They're not a very expensive item. So we take that and just plug that in to the Ethernet port, just like you would any other connection on your modem or your Wi-Fi router at home. Okay, so we got that all set up. Now, Let's turn it on and see if it lights up. Okay, so now it's coming on. At this point, it gives you a display here of the progress. And it can take a minute or so for this to completely load. Okay, so it always comes up with this welcome display. You can turn that off if you want. I'm just going to hit the little button. And you can see these are a pressure-sensitive screen. So it allows you to make all kinds of choices just by touch, as well as some other methods I'll show you in a minute. Okay, let's take a look at the system. So I've got two locomotives selected here. As you can see, one's a little steam locomotive. And also, as you see, if you touch the screen, it's going to change the speed. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't track your finger. But you can click, and it will advance the speed. And if you watch that knob, it's turning accordingly. So you see it? Okay, so you have a speed control knob for each throttle, for each cab. You have this device here. So it's got this little toggle switch here that can be set to control different features. So right now it controls the horn and the coupler. You could also set it for the bell as well. And I can turn the light on. Now either there's this row of buttons here. So I can use the button to turn the light on and off, or I can just touch it with my finger to turn it on and off. And it did it on the locomotive. You can't see it behind it there. I'm going to turn the sound back off. And you'll notice it's got a go button here and a stop. So that comes up red, that's green. So you can kill power by just hitting the stop button. And that's also how you turn the device off, because there is no on-off button per se, but when you hold this down for about 3 seconds, then it starts to shut down, and it finally will tell you that you can unplug it or turn power off at that point. So you do want to do that. You can just turn power off. They don't recommend it because any changes you might have made to locomotives or anything within the system might not be saved if you do not shut it down and let it go through its shutdown process. Okay, so just a warning about that. And if you notice, there's this line of icons across the top of the screen, and each has a different purpose. This is just to bring up your cabs. This one here is for working with the various accessories. This one is for building routes. This one is for creating a track plan or control board, and you can have multiple control boards. And then right here is general settings. So right now the booster internally is, and remember, command stations have boosters built into them, and you can also buy separate boosters. And a booster is the unit that takes the commands from the command station and boosts them up to track power. Okay, so that's what a booster does. Most command stations these days come with a booster built into them. This one can go up to 6 amps output, and you can set the voltage. So let's look at this. So right now you can see it set for 4,000 milliamps or 4 amps. I could go down here. Oh, and by the way, if you want to move up and down through a menu, you can use your finger here, or you can use the toggle switch. So this, I could go all the way up to 6 amps, as you can see there. And there's other things you can do. You can control the background lighting here. Show you that. You can see it's getting pretty dark. Okay, bring it up to full brightness there. You can reduce screen flicker. I don't see any, so I'm not worried about it. Let's go on over here. This is for programming with DCC. Address programming, just for addresses. You can program Motorola decoders. You can program Selectrix decoders. You can delete all locos and consists in the station. You can delete M4 locos. You can delete the auto-registered Locos. So a lot of different things there, but be careful. And then finally down here, track on, this is setup mode, okay? You can control track on its startup, or you could have it off at startup. I like to have it on. Keep speed and direction, switch all, various options here. Another thing here, you can see you can reset to factory settings. That is turned off right now, and that's an option. You can set it up so that it works. You can set it up so it doesn't work. You probably don't want it on, because inadvertently you might restart everything, and that couldn't be good. You can restart the ecosystem here or do a save. Right now this is grayed out because it's turned off for a good reason. So then we can go into this icon, and you see this is for your system booster setting. So right now the system booster is set at 15 volts. Now if I change that little pot that I showed you on the power supply, you can adjust it and it will tell you right here what the new voltage output is. So it's 15 volts and it's 43 degrees centigrade, so it's getting a little bit warm in there. It's typically down around room temperature. And you can see right now it's putting out about 14 or 15 milliamps. That's because I've got that locomotive sitting on the track. And these are some more options related to routes. And we'll get into that in the future. Okay, one thing I wanted to show you is the computer interface setup. So again, you go back to this little icon right here, which is a red icon with a wrench across it. You can see we're setting up our computer interface here. So you come up with the network settings. Now, when you're first attaching your mini access point to the system, you have to set it up. And there's two things that you have to change. When this first came, it came with a different option here. You need to make sure it's set for spawn DHP server. So you would push that button. I don't want to change it because I've already got it set up and working, and I don't want to mess with it. But you need to get it set for spawn DHP server, and then it says OK and set up Wi-Fi. You push that button right there. And again, I don't want to do it because it's working. And it took me 3 tries, I think, before it actually worked. So it does take a couple of tries in order to get this to go through and set up the proper network connection with the mini AP, the access point there. Okay. And then when that comes up, it will give you the address, the IP address for the system, as well as the password. And tells you the host name. Let's see what else is in here. More things to do with decoder programming here. You can change your address, things like that. You can do a read and a write. Okay, so let's get out of here and I'll show you more about operations. Okay, let's go back to the main screen. Okay, so what we want to do is, I've got it set up now. I'm going to select a different loco. Let's go with this one right here. So that should be the locomotive I've got on the track back there. So let's see. So I think you can hear it works. And the bell. So you can see it hooks up fairly quickly to the system. And I could use the ESU controller as well. I'm just not going to set that up right now. Let me go ahead and turn this off because it's very straightforward, easy to set up. Okay, powering down. Now you can see at this point that I've got 2 locomotives set up here. Now one of them, I don't have a fancy icon for this one yet. This one here is a German loco. So let's edit this because it should be my RS11. Edit loco. And we can go here. And you can see there's just a ton. And again, I'm going to use this little toggle switch to move down through the menu. So you can just go down through all of these loco images. And by the way, there's another database of images available online at the ESU website that you can download and then, through a computer connection, upload into the system. Plus, there are ways to create your own icons using a photograph. Well, I'm not going to waste a lot of time just looking. Let's just pick one and put that in there. Okay, so I've got a loco in there. Let's switch locomotives. So let's say if I want to clear this out, I can release the controller right here. And then I'm going to select a locomotive. That is this one right here, the Alco 251B. So I click on that, and we've got it up here. So you can hear it running now. I was running it on the TCS throttle. And you can see that, I'm going to turn the sound off a second. It has all of these little icons next to the sounds. That's because it's a loc sound decoder in that locomotive, and it automatically registered these sounds and the images from that decoder. And that works with various loc sound decoders that are capable of communicating via Railcom and supplying this kind of information. So you can see right here, I can turn sound back on, and that's the bell. I think this is a horn icon. This looks like coupler clash. Yep. Dynamic brake. I don't know if you can hear it, but the dynamic brake is starting up. So there's a lot of these other options through here. I'm going to turn sound back off again. Okay, so we got the sound back off. Now, if I want, I could drive that. I'm going to take that locomotive off because I just got it on a small piece of track for a test track. But at any rate, you can control your speed this way, and you can see it's giving me a readout right here, that's speed step 20. And it goes up to 126 speed steps all the way around here, all the way back to 0. And as I said before, you can click on the desktop, on the screen here, and bring it all the way around wherever you want in fast steps. Also, if you need to stop the locomotive, you can just hit the stop button and it will kill power. Then you can reset it and have power come back on again. So a lot of different options there as far as that goes. Okay, right now we're set up to control a locomotive on this side and a locomotive on that side. Now, there's another option. It says multi right here. You can have multiple locomotives assigned to that throttle, and then you can just cycle through whichever one you want to control. So that would be an option that you could use for controlling multiple trains if you're operating by yourself. Okay, we'll go back to single here. And I think I showed you how to select. You can select a locomotive here, like that, and then just select whichever you want. You can go through them one by one and click on it. Or, let me get out of there. We could hit this button right here that's a little loco icon, and it gets you to the same place. Nice little feature there. Okay, let's take a look at the wrench here, because it gives you several options of dealing with your locos. You can create a loco, you can create a consist, you can have a shuttle train so that the train could go back and forth between the same points and be programmed to stop when it gets to the station and then go back again, that kind of thing. You can edit a loco, delete a loco, and release the controller, which means clear it out. Okay, so if we wanted to create a new loco, we can go in here, pull it up from the database, or create it manually, which is what most would want to do. Okay, so you can go in here, you can set it up for whichever format you want. I've got it set for 128 speed steps. You can go in here, enter an address. Let's make it 377, like that. Sniffer address, that's something that I haven't gotten into. So we'll talk about sniffers in the future once I have a chance to get familiarized with them. And then you can create a name here. So bring that up. I'm going to zero it out, and I might call this, let's call it a Southern Railway locomotive. I think it was 377, wasn't it? 377, something like that. Yeah, so that's the name for it that you would see on the screen, and that's the address. You can go in here. You can use a built-in image or use a user-defined image if you have some. Limit selections. Now, if I want to, this is a, let's call this an electric loco. Then the only thing that will come up will be electric locos. So you don't have to scan through all those like I did a minute ago. We could say, let's just look at steam locos. There we go. Okay, since I bounced out, let's see if I can edit that loco I created. Yeah, there it is. So we can still go in and edit it. So let's set it for steam only, like I wanted to do. Oh, we'll call this a big boy. What the heck? So we've got that there, and then we can just click off here. And you can see we've got SR377, a big boy, showing on the screen. It shows you that it's 128 speed steps, and 377 is the address there. So everything's up and operational. None of the functions are named. We can go in there, and we can actually edit those options. Let's see how. Okay, let's look at the properties of that locomotive. So we can go in here and we can change. So I think F1, I think, was a bell, let's say. Let's just say that's the horn. Okay, so that would be there, and then when it comes back up, you can see this function here is now set to the sound, I guess. Okay, so we can go back in here, edit the loco, click on the properties, and you can see it's set for sound. Yes, not the bell. Okay, let me put it back just to standard function capability. Ah, there it is. We'll set it back to our function. Oh, and you can test it here too if it's a sound. There we go. Back. Okay, so you can see it's back to its standard setup. You can also go in here. Let's see what that third one that I missed was. Advanced settings here. So these are things that you could add into it. You could specify the type of format that it is, type of decoder. If it's not reading it, you can specify it. I'm just going to leave it empty. Get out of there. You can read the decoder profile, and it will give you a progress readout, manufactured, all kinds of features here. But of course, it has to be something that it can actually read. And you can have it on the main or on the programming track. In order for it to work on the main, it's got to be Railcom compatible. Okay, so let's go back. Get us back all the way to the beginning here. A lot of features in this. So a lot of things to discover. And I think I showed you you can use this to control these functions 2 and 3. And there's a way to change which functions this corresponds to. Also, it has up and down, and it can go left and right. And that works with selections in some of these menus. Let's see what this icon has. So that was that welcome again. Okay, let's look at some of these other features here. So we can create a consist of locomotives. So these are locomotives that are in use already on a throttle, so you can't use them. But I could go through here, add that one. So it's added it or subtracted it. And let's go in here and see as they're used in a consist, they're not available anymore. They're moved over here. So we move it over. So we got these 3 locomotives now together forming a consist. And then to break them out of a consist, you just hit, let's take that one out, and it moves it back here. Same thing here, moves it back over, and again here. So we've broken up the consist at that point. So I knew you guys were going to ask, so I did look up the price for this, and basically it has a wide range. I found it as low as $650 and as high as $900. And I think $899.95 or something like that, $899.99 is the MSRP. So there's a lot of discount out there if you do your research. So look around, and like I said, $650 to $900 is the price range that I found by doing a search on the internet. Now that's a large price, I know that, and it is, but it is a top-of-the-line premium command station with a lot of built-in features available, and it comes with the dual throttles. So you get a lot built into it as far as that goes. Plus you're getting a 6 amp power station out of this. Well, that's a wrap for today's video. Hopefully I gave you a fairly good feeling of the capabilities of the ECoS command station and a little bit about how you can operate it. So there are a lot of capabilities built into this command station that I haven't even had a chance to do more than just scan a little bit in the manual. So things like setting up routes, setting up control panels, all of that and some of the other fancy features, connecting a computer to it, that kind of thing. That's something that I'll have to do in a future video once I've had plenty of time to actually work with the system and get a feeling for how it really works, so I can show you how you can use it and get it started without jumping through a lot of hoops that I might have to in the learning process. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend and a great week. And I'll see you here with another video soon from the DCC Guy. Bye now.